The stage is set. The Stanley Cup Finals. Carolina Hurricanes hosting the Vegas Golden Knights. Of course, we saw the Colorado Avalanche get knocked off by the Knights and the Canadiens knocked off by the Hurricanes. Couple days off, guys, but we are ready to rock and roll. Coming at you in a big way with a panel on the show today, not just myself and Carmine. We've got some guys in here that know their stuff. They're going to break things down. You've seen them all year on PuckTime. We've got Bryan Leonard, we've got Don Buster, and we've got Lawrence Presman to give us their thoughts on the series. Carm, kind of a couple days off to kind of build up the intensity, build the hype around the series, and here we are. So looking forward to it, brother, and it's finally here, man. Tonight, game one of the Stanley Cup Finals. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm looking forward to it. This is likely the first series in a while, Andrew, and I'm not talking about Stanley Cup Final series, but in this year's playoffs, where there wasn't a mention of a player for either team or a star who could be injured, might be out, it could be a game time decision, kind of like Makar, and then whatever was ailing McInnis for a while, or Connor McDavid. So the great thing is everyone's in there. No one's got an excuse. Everyone, both teams have had 2 or 3 days off since the last series ended. So there's no excuse about not being rested. This should be a very good finals, at least cutting out all the excuses. So yeah, we're going to go roundtable on a series predictions. We're going to get to the game eventually, Andrew and I, game one tonight. But we're going to kick it off on $5 Tuesdays with all three guys. We're going to bring in Lawrence Presman first, then Don Buster, then Bryan Leonard. And we'll see if he is backing his Vegas Golden Knights in this one. And then Andrew and I will also give our thoughts. We're going to tell you who we pick to win the series, and taking that just a little further, we're going to pick how many games they're going to win it in. So how's that for predictions? And we got some kick-ass graphics to go with it, and something from Ralph Michaels in the fade or follow for game one. But with that said, let's bring in the man, the legend, the myth, none other than the Prez, the legend. He is a legend. It might be in his own mind, but he's still a legend.
What's going on over there? Excited to be here. Stanley Cup Finals start tonight. Faster it ends, closer to football. And I'm ready for it to end, even though it's been exceptional. 22-8 in the playoffs so far. Only had one totals lost the whole playoffs. Been incredible. But yet, I'm ready for it to end. And I'm wearing a collared shirt. You know what I'm doing today?
I hear you, Prez. I'm ready for that weekend. Golf trip for me coming up on Thursday. Can't wait.
Where are you going?
I'm going to Prince Edward Island, PEI, best golf area in the Maritimes.
Yeah, I heard.
Can you actually drive balls into the ocean from there, or no? Kind of like Kramer did on Seinfeld when
maybe one or two
Titleist into the water. Awesome, Prez. Okay, so it's $5 Tuesdays. We're going to get to that in a minute, where all cappers have plays up for $5. But we got a busy show today. I'm going to throw out the series price and get your reaction to it and what you think is going to happen in this series. Carolina minus 155, the Vegas Golden Knights plus 130 in this one. And then if you're looking for some series props as far as the spread goes, if you like Carolina to get it done in 6 games or less, you're getting plus 125 on your money. If you think this is going to go 7 games or Vegas is going to win it outright, you can take plus 1.5 games, minus 150. Prez, give us your thoughts on this series.
Carm, this to me is very baffling. I look at this and I'm like, why is Carolina favored here? Like, why? It's not that the bookmakers think Carolina is better. It's that the general public has priced the market at that number. If everybody thought Vegas was better, they would have put Carolina at minus 150, it would have lasted about 3 seconds. And next thing you know, Vegas would have been favored. But that is not the case. And I simply don't get it. It must be that Carolina beat the 3 best teams in hockey, the Ottawa Senators, outstanding, tons of offensive talent up top, an incredible team. After that, they dismantled the absolutely historically good Philadelphia Flyers, loaded with offense, incredible defense, a spectacular goalie, maybe the best home ice in the league. And then they took on the veteran-laden to the Stanley Cup 5 times in a row. Can't believe they lost Montreal Canadiens. Loaded. I mean, their third line can score like nobody's business. Talented defense. Unbelievable. I mean, I get it. Carolina just came off one of the most historic playoff runs in the history of nothing. And here they are favored against a team who just swept, I think, the first or second best team in the regular season in the history of hockey. Not only did they sweep them, they held them to 7 goals in 4 games. Montreal scored 6 goals in 1 game against this incredible Carolina Hurricane team. And yet, Carolina is favored. It must be their massive group of fandom that they have. You know, Carolina being the world's most populated place of all time, so they have all these incredible fans to bet. That must be it. No, that's not it either. It's Freddie Anderson, a horrible season, but he plays great for 13 games. Their defense, horrible season, played great for 13 games. Maybe it's Ottawa, Philadelphia, and Montreal that were so anemic offensively that all of a sudden a shitty defensive team in the regular season found itself in the playoffs. Could that be it? Or is it the incredible, skillful talent coming out of their bench, a coaching bench that has finally got to the Stanley Cup after 712 years of trying? Perhaps that's the reason Carolina is favored. So with all that said, I like Vegas in 6 at plus 250. I don't understand this line. I can't make heads or tails of this line. I and that doesn't mean I'm right. I mean, Carolina can go out and win. This is gambling, right? I thought Colorado would beat Vegas. I was wrong. But I got to tell you guys, I don't understand this line at all. Vegas, 3 Stanley Cup Finals in the last 9 years. The core still together. Vegas, Eichel and Marner. Stankoven.
So, Prez, let me ask you a question. What do you say to the people? And let me finish here my thought first. What do you say to the people that say, okay, the Vegas Golden Knights got into the playoffs by winning 7 of the last 8 games against a cupcake schedule? They play Utah, who are not known to be a playoff team. They then play the Anaheim Ducks, who kind of like the Montreal Canadiens are ahead of the curve and were good enough to win a series and get to that Vegas one, but ran out of steam in that one. And then a Colorado team that McInnis wasn't his best. Obviously, and definitely and Makar. What do you say to those people that you can only play the teams they put in front of you?
I say that John Tortorella has 1 Stanley Cup already in his bag. He swept Tampa Bay Lightning 6 years ago. They were the greatest regular season team in history, and he swept them with a horrible Columbus Blue Jackets team. He literally game planned the ability to stop Colorado. I think the Fonz has this, dude. I think that with all the break and the days off, I think the greatest coach, like the who changes, like the tactician, the greatest tactical coach of all time, in my opinion, in the NHL. That's how high I am. This Torts can't get a team to coach. He coaches Tampa Bay to a Stanley Cup and then gets handed a bunch of shit for the next 20 years. Basically, you know, one crapper after another. Finally gets his hands on a good team, takes them to the Stanley Cup, beats Colorado. What do I say about the regular season? In the beautiful words of one of the greatest legends of all time, Mr. Dave Koken, Carter Hart was not around in the regular season. They had no goaltending in the regular season. Mark Stone was injured half the year. It took Mitch Marner a while to find his line mates. And now they come in winning game after game after game after game. And what do I think about Anaheim? I think Anaheim just beat Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl entering that series. Yes, Montreal beat Tampa Bay. I get it. They got super lucky in the game 7, but Tampa Bay is an old team, a tired team. They looked tired. They looked old. So what I say to those people, I say it's gambling. If you want to lay minus 150, go ahead. But at worst, these teams are dead even, so I might as well take the dog.
Well, Prez, I think that, and this is why we have the panel, as you mentioned, we all get an opinion. I think this is what I find interesting is that a lot of people's opinion about why they like a certain team is more so dismantling why they don't like the other team. And so the scheduling,
I like Carolina.
Whoever likes one team is going to dismantle the schedule for the other team, I find. And that's what's going to be interesting when it comes down to it. So who do you believe is more the real deal is what it really comes down to. But speaking of which, you've been the real deal in the postseason. What do you have going today, tonight, tomorrow, the next day? What's going on with you? And we'll get you out of here.
Okay, firstly, I did make a bet in this. I did make one future bet. I bet Carter Hart to win the MVP at plus 1,200. And I just want to talk about that really, really quick. Mitch Marner is the favorite here, and that just makes no sense to me. He's 3 points up on Jack Eichel. There might be 7 games to go. For all we know, at the end of the 7 games, Mitch Marner could be the 3rd or 4th highest point getter on Vegas alone. So And on top of that, Freddie Anderson was, 20. I think Montreal put up 7 shots in the 5 games they played. I think it was a grand total of 7 shots. And Colorado was putting up 30 shots every single night. And on top of that, there's 7 games to go. Maybe 6, maybe 5. If Vegas shuts Carolina out, which is not crazy, this Carolina team is not a scoring juggernaut. They shut him out. They hold him to 2 goals. Mitch Marner gets nothing, plus 1,200 for Carter Hart. Absolutely love that freaking bet. Okay, guys, I have a 4% play tonight in the hockey game. It is $5. As you all know, I'm absolutely dominating the NHL right now. I'm 22-8 in the playoffs. I also have an incredible promo that I want to give out. I am 48 and 26 in both the NBA and NHL playoffs combined. I am up over 25 units of profit in the NBA. I'm up over 35 units of profit in the NHL. I am destroying both sports. So please, guys, for $99, and it's today only, for $99, you can get my NHL and NBA finals. And it's gone tonight. And then you're shut out of luck. So please head over to Wager Talk and buy that. Yeah, Carm,
right,
you know what I'm saying, dude. You know my motto. If you're not betting, if you're not betting my plays, why are you breathing?
Prez, I will to use the terminology I picked up when hanging around with you and your friends. You are a mensch, my friend. You are a mensch.
You are an exquisite man, Carmine. Andrew.
There you go.
Prez, go lift some weights. Go do some bicep curls.
Thanks for having me, guys.
See you later.
Lots of love. Go Vegas.
Hey, Carm, that's what I love about this. And it's a great idea by you because you're going to get so many different opinions. And I look forward to the next one because it's going to make this. I feel like you and I are like the ESPN or TSN hosts, and we get to just watch a bunch of different opinions fly around the room. Which is going to make for it to be really fun. And that's what's funny is when you hear people building a case, some people build their case by talking up one team, but some people also build their case by talking down the other team. So it's like, which team do you not like the most is kind of what I'm seeing from people right now.
Yeah, no, this is the great thing. And for you guys that are tuning in late or watching this later on, once all 5 of us have had an opinion on the series, we will recap it with a graphic, letting you know who our pick is and in how many games. So, but with that said, man, I hung out with this guy on Saturday. We watched the Champions League final, PSG and Arsenal together. This guy brought quite possibly one of the nicest bottles of tequila for my wife, who loves tequila, from Mexico. He carted it all the way from Mexico to Canada. God bless him. God bless his soul. Let's bring him in.
God bless him.
One, the only, Don Julio Buster. Buster, how we
Hola,
doing, man?
amigo.
You look like you're in like some Amazon forest or something, man. That's fantastic.
I'm actually in the Muskokas, but no, not really. I'm in Burlington North, where about maybe 3 miles from the city, you can find Muskoka. It's unbelievable. So lucky enough to have a very good buddy. He's gone away to Vegas and to other places. And we always my wife loves looking after Sammy, his dog. It's so we come up here because he trusts us. We've done this probably for years and years. It's a nice little getaway, that's for sure.
Awesome.
But I tell you, thanks a lot, guys. I have to follow the Prez. Really?
That's
Well,
easy.
look, I haven't
It's
seen
easy.
you. I haven't seen you since we went to the game together, so I got to just thank you
my
again, because
God,
what an
yeah.
absolute time. And you know what? Thank God, Buster, we didn't go to the next one, because it was 4-0 the next game. So
Definitely.
unbelievable time. Can't thank you enough. And
You're
you know
very
what?
welcome, Andrew. I'm
Even
very glad
though
to
they
do it.
lost, what a time. What a time, right? So
Yeah, we had, like I said, we had a perfect day except for that last little Carolina goal, or it would have been, it would have been a great day.
Somehow
We've been
these
ranked
guys
up
turned.
there.
Somehow these guys turned this into a Montreal Canadiens love fest.
Sorry.
Dear God. All right. No. I get it. But you guys did beat the Sabres, so you can hang that banner up. You guys are Atlantic Division champions and ahead of the curve. Ahead of the curve.
We
The
are
future
ahead
is
of the
bright
curve.
ahead. Bruster, Vegas Golden Knights, plus 130. Prez likes them at plus 130, minus 155 on Carolina to win the series. What are your thoughts on this series?
Yeah. And I'm just going to quickly say, for all the people that are Montreal hating right now, I don't get it. We had a great year. You should be as proud as hell to be a Montreal Canadian fan right now. Now, like I said, you put me after the Prez. And truthfully, I agree with the Prez. Well, I don't understand this price either at all. To me, I got a list of reasons why I like Vegas. I won't go through them all because Prez talked about the one. He did it very sarcastically and probably as excellent as you could do. That was very funny and very true to a point. So I agree totally with about Carolina. Even though they're 12-1, they have. I think there's some suspect there. I'll just even go back to the Montreal series. If we could be lucky enough, Montreal wins. Could have been up 3-0. That series has changed. Me and Andrew were at Game 3. Suzuki misses a net, like figures. Matheson's shot, if it's like, I don't know what, maybe a quarter of an inch lower, hits a crossbar and drops into the net. But again, if you know, we know the stories about ifs, which I won't say. But this actually, if you ask me, could come right down to the goalies. So who do you like? Who do you think's the better goalie? Who do you think has it going? Who do you think has a Patrick Waugh, a Jonathan Quick, a Bennington? Who do you think's looking like that? I know who I think it is, and that's Carter Hart. He looks really good. And yes, he hadn't played lots, but I tell you, we'll get to Tortorella in a bit. So to me, it comes down to the goalies. I think Carter Hart is very good. I know their numbers are very similar. Maybe even Freddie has better numbers, but we could go back to what Prez says about that on who Carolina did play. I know Vegas didn't have to play a lot of the better teams, but they did beat Colorado. And I don't care if Colorado was a little hurt. They looked really good and confident. That's what I really like. They're a confident club. And Freddie Anderson, to me, even to, again, I keep going back to that game because we had such a great time. He looks suspect. There's 3 or 4 times he was trying to catch the puck, even though Montreal had 12 shots on goal. He just doesn't. There's something about Freddie, and I could see Vegas eventually may not take game one or two, eventually exploiting him and showing that he could be scored on, and he's not as good as his save percentage and goal average is as we speak. Again, there is one stat that I read. I'm not sure what stat you got going, Carmine, for this, but I did read. I'm pretty sure this is true, that the home teams with game one, 74% to win the cup. However, the last 10 years, they're only 50%. So that tells me there's the parity of the league. Things are starting to turn. So, and we all have talked on here how, you know what, it's not really, home ice advantage isn't what it used to be. Let's just say that. Also, to me, Carolina has been just, I don't know, some of those games are just coin flips that they've come close. You could say the same thing about Vegas, but I also want to quickly look at special teams. Just quickly, both teams fantastic on the penalty kill. Carolina has killed 49 of 53, but Vegas has killed 42 of 48. So that's kind of a wash. But I fully believe Vegas's power play is much better, and I think you'll see that in this. Now, one more quick thing. Let's get to Torts. Tortorella comes in, and everybody, like you had said, Carmine, you could say he got lucky. They played crap at the beginning. But you could see every series, anybody been watching every game like I do for the most part, you can see every series Vegas has got better. They didn't look all that great against Utah. They started looking really good against Anaheim. And then now, Colorado, they put it together. Tortorella, they love John. I'll tell you right now, he was one of the guys behind that U.S. Team to win that. And everybody said, you know, he's not what you see on TV. He's the players love him. And then you got with Carter Hart. And I know this isn't a really good handicap, and people are going to say, oh, it means shit buster. But you know what? It's a great story, isn't it? Just like the Patrick Waugh story, just like Jonathan Quick's story. It's a great story. Here's Carter Hart. No one wanted him. And if Torts isn't coaching Vegas, A, they're already out. B, Aiden Hill would have played. And there's Hart doing what he is. Hart, now he's got confidence with Torts. And I think that whole story is a great one. So anyways, I like Vegas in 6. I think I'm with Prez. He's bang on. If anything, this should be a pick. There's no doubt Carolina has a great team. They've got a great defensive team. And again, I think it's the goalies, and I believe they're going to face a Vegas team that maybe be able to crack that defense a little more than anybody else has been able to.
Buster, if you are correct on at least 6 games, whether it's Vegas winning in 6 or whether it's Carolina winning in 6, I will be in the building at T-Mobile Arena. I will find a way in one way or another. The minute I get to Vegas on the 13th of June, I'm going straight to Derek Stevens' office down at Circa and literally begging the man. I'll wash his car. Just give me one of the tickets that he has for the Game 6. I would love to see the Stanley Cup hoisted live for the first time ever, because it's never going to happen here in Toronto.
And for Vegas.
Likely not in Buffalo either. So, but Buster, with that said, listen, man, it is $5 Tuesdays over at Wager Talk. I know CFL is right around the corner. I think it kicks off this week.
Yes, sir.
Tell us what you have up as part of $5 Tuesdays. Any streaks that you have, anything you want to mention, fire away, buddy.
Okay, it is $5 Tuesday. I do have MLB 4% up, a total play, and we are on a nice little 5-0-1 MLB total run. We did, full disclosure, we did have a tough loss with our total on Sunday night, 5-0 after the third inning, and couldn't get that many more runs. But we are doing very well in baseball. I've had a little down thing, but we're still doing very well in baseball, continuing that. And like you said, Carmine, CFL actually starts Thursday. I have a little deal right now with the rest of the NHL, which is just now going to be this series and the full CFL year for $2.99. I will be talking to Melissa this afternoon and see maybe if we can extend it another week to maybe June 11th. So that gives people a little bit more time for the CFL. It gets them thinking CFL and maybe put in a baseball deal with that. But I'm not sure. I know the office has other deals for baseball, so I'll do that. But if not, you need to grab that one right now. You get all the Stanley Cup playoffs with the rest of that's left, and the MLB, and the CFL, the full season. So again, guys, appreciate you having me on. Love being on with you guys, and I know who you guys like, so let's just say I'm looking forward to a good series.
Right. Buster, wish you the best of luck. Have an absolutely phenomenal playoffs, man. Finish strong and then get right into CFL football. I would have gone to the game with Rob. I know you're off to Windsor. Yeah, I would have gone to the game, but it's Thursday night and there's game 2 of the NHL playoffs. Exactly. I am not going to watch a CFL football game. I'm sorry. As much as it does excite me, I love the CFL game. I love the Stanley Cup Finals even better.
Yes, I hear it. And you know what, Carmen? When you get back from Vegas, me, you, and Rob, maybe we'll go out in the bar and watch a nice World Cup game, a game that you want to choose. I don't know if you want to go in Canada's there because the place will be crowded and packed, but we'll pick a good game to go see.
Buster, look, man, when everybody says that football is around the corner, they're not usually talking about our football. So this Thursday, I can't wait for it. Enjoy the Cup Finals. Enjoy the CFL. We'll be talking to you, brother. All the best, man.
Take care, everybody. Good luck to everybody in the chat and watching the show.
All right. Bryan, as patient as ever, and this is why we could put him on in the 3-hole, because I think if we had Prez in the 3-hole, he'd be ready to burst right now. He wouldn't be able to wait. So we always appreciate and can respect Bryan's patience. So Bryan, look, we're going to bring you in here. I'll just say this before we pop you on screen. A lot of the reasoning for people liking a certain team, this is just NFL, I find, during breakdowns, college basketball, NBA, NHL. A lot of the reasons for why they like a certain team is a lot of, just like I said, insulting the other team. And that's what I'm hearing. What do you think about this matchup, and how do you feel about the Stanley Cup Finals?
Yeah, I'm glad you pushed Prez out the door a little bit, because I'd like to watch the game tonight, and I wasn't sure I was going to be able to get away in time. And how does he get away with putting his self-portrait on his cap that he's wearing today?
Yeah.
It was an 8. And it still looked better than him. But anyway, for as entertaining as Prez was, I'm going to be just as boring. He was talking about why this line is where it is. There's many sensible reasons why this line is where it is for the series. Carolina was a team that was great all season long, and Vegas for a long, we were even looking at betting Vegas not to make the playoffs at one time, if you remember. They were not playing well. I followed the team, especially Prez talks more for having a team that didn't make the playoffs than we all did for all of our favorite teams making the playoffs. But anyway, but Carolina's been great all season long. They've been very good. They've been very good for years. They just haven't been able to win in the playoffs. And we'll see how it ends up this year. But there's many reasons for that. They played in the Eastern Conference. Eastern Conference was said to be the better conference, the stronger conference. But the last 4 years, the Pacific Division has been in the Stanley Cup. It's either been the Golden Knights or the Edmonton Oilers. Vegas did not play well earlier in the season, but we're not betting them earlier in the season. If we're doing that, they swept Carolina. I mean, back in October or whatever. So what does that mean? You've got to be able to bet these teams the way they're playing right now. And Vegas is playing very good right now. But Carolina has been great at home. Were they 29-12 at home? That's a tough place to win at. Vegas has been very good on the road. They've been better on the road than they have been at home. And I think a lot of the reason why money comes in on Carolina is everybody hates the Vegas Knights. There was a poll, I think my wife showed me, And like 67% of the people that follow hockey, their least favorite team was the Vegas Golden Knights. You have a hard time rooting and betting on a team that you hate. People let their emotions get into it. My favorite team is the Golden Knights. I live here in Las Vegas, but I don't let that affect the way I gamble. I want to make money. I don't. If I'm betting against Vegas and Vegas loses, hey, I make money. I don't understand that. Fandom has nothing to do with your sports betting. These two teams deserve to be here. Carolina, another reason to bet on them, 12-1. The only game they lost was when they had all that rest. I was against them in that game. I couldn't understand why that line was so high when you haven't played in such a long time. So it makes a lot of common sense that Carolina is the favorite in this series. They've got 4 out of the 7 games at home, and the way they played all season long, I fully understand that. That said, who can really say one team or the other is so much better than the other in this game? It would not surprise me if this game ends in 6 games or 7 games, and it wouldn't surprise me if either team wins. I am going to use Carolina as my play in this because they have the home ice advantage. And yeah, it's not as strong as it used to be. The travel situations are much better now. Fans are able to get in. So, I watch every time before the game starts, every team has their little thing they cheer for it. And the wife and I, every time I go on the road and they get to the part where they said, and then everybody starts cheering. She goes, hey, we've got a lot of fans in the stands today. So it's not like it used to be where people did not make those trips and they weren't able to make those trips. It's much easier now. The home advantage isn't quite as much, but I think Carolina has to be considered the favorite in this game, having 4 of the 7 games at home. That said, like I said, anything can happen in this game or in this series regardless. And I think it's going to be a great series. It would surprise me if it went 4 or 5 games. I think it goes more than that. That's the only thing I would be surprised on either team. And you got 2 great defensive teams, 2 goalies that are playing their best hockey of the season, and 2 teams with a lot of veteran leadership in it that play great defense. So it'll be a lot of lower scoring games, a lot of tighter games. It's a coin flip, and I'm excited to watch it, regardless if you're a fan of either team, and most people are not. But it should be an exciting series, and I can't wait for it to start. I'm glad Prez is no longer on the show, so I can get to watch it.
Bryan, we'll get to watch a couple games. I arrive on the 13th of June in the morning. I don't need you to pick me up at the airport because I think Circa is sending me a limo. So they always send money for their whales, the guys who never win and always lose. So and they liquor you up. They fill that limo with so much alcohol. It's absolutely phenomenal. I get on sober and I get out of the limo needing to check into the Betty Ford Clinic. But with that said, Bryan, a ton going on for you. NHL, obviously MLB, and you just finished the show a little while ago with Trigger and Tokyo Brandon. What do you got to promote on $5 Tuesdays at Wager Talk, and any streaks you want to talk about?
Oh yeah, lots of streaks. It's been on a good run. By the way, Andrew, I met Rob and this gentleman right here. Right, I told him I'll meet him in the sports book at the Circa. They walked in, and Carmine was wasted. And I go, how the hell did you get wasted from the airport to here? It's only like a 25-minute. He took advantage of that limo. Let's just put it that way.
Speaking a different language, was he? Not speaking English.
In my defense, our flight was at like 8 a.m. in the morning, something like that, or 9 a.m. We get to Pearson Airport in Toronto, and Rob Braley, because we're heading to, obviously we're heading to Circa to pick up our check, which is right behind me there.
Hey, don't pull a Prez on us, Carm. Don't pull a Prez on us.
But he at the airport, he ordered. This is for each of us, 11, maybe 12, because I lost count when we hit double digits, mimosas. And then you toss in some beers, and then he tips the lady on the plane the cart lady, gives her like $40. She's like, what's this? She goes, we don't take tips and stuff. He goes, just remember our seat numbers. And so she would come by with those little bottles of wine and just drop them pretty much in my lap. And so, yeah, I don't remember. It's kind of a blur, but
Brian, I got a question for you.
I only drink occasionally now. Go ahead.
Only occasionally. So I keep on batting home the same point here, kind of between guests and between kind of segues here and stuff. But it's fascinating for me because, look, I think that Carolina, the biggest thing for them is the way that they play. Rest is huge for them. Taylor Hall, he admitted that when he first got to Carolina, he had to get more in shape because of how the coach likes to play, how fast they play and their style of hockey. And I'll be the first one to tell you this is, Philadelphia and Pittsburgh with Gary Bettman's way of hockey and playoff format should never be a first round matchup. So then I think personally, Ottawa in the first round was probably a tougher matchup than Philadelphia was in the second round for Carolina. Then you get a Montreal team way overachieving. They've already played, 14 games to the only 8 games that Carolina already played. So people are going to talk so much about the strength of schedule, right? But then I've had the exact same crowd on the other side that say, and Carmine mentioned it, well, Utah is new to the playoffs. Anaheim's new to the playoffs. And, Colorado had Makar and McInnis injured. So it's so funny because you have so many people that will build their case for why each team had an easier strength of schedule. But I'll just throw it out there before we get you out of here, and I want some promo stuff from you again. But to me, it's one of those things where if an NFL team is going into the playoffs and all of their wins throughout the playoffs were by 25 points, I'm not going to say, well, they didn't go through any adversity, so it's a really bad thing. No, I'm going to say they kicked the shit out of every team they played. It's like some people will say it's such a bad thing. And in the playoffs, you can only play who you can play. And that's kind of how I feel about Carolina. I feel like it's their time. A lot of people forget Carolina, I think they were 1-10 their last 11 conference final games. That's how bad it was. So sometimes it's just your time. Yeah, 1-17. Yeah, exactly. So, sometimes it's just your time. So, Brian, I'll be the first to admit, I thought that Philadelphia, beating Pittsburgh, I wasn't too impressed by that. Second round, Carolina, and then to get Montreal. But either way, the rest, I think, is the biggest advantage in this series. So when I look at Carolina, and Vegas has the talent, but I think the rest is huge. Your thoughts?
Yeah, rest is great. Rust is terrible, and that was the problem they had originally. As to who they played, it's just excuses. These two teams deserve to be here. I don't care who they played. I didn't expect Vegas to beat Colorado. Yeah, they had the one injury, and it did affect. We talked about that, but they went without Stone for a lot of the season. And one of the reasons why Vegas has done so well down the stretch is because they got players back that weren't there earlier in the season. So having fresh legs on the ice for Carlson has really made a big difference for Vegas, and that's one of the reasons they've really taken off as of late. It's people could say whatever they want, whatever. We're not going to not bet these games because our teams aren't in it or we didn't think they deserve it. No, we're going to bet the games. We're going to break them down, and you guys are just about to do that. So I won't take much more of your time, but Prez is great at promoting himself, and great. Hats off to him. I'm not good at that. Carmine's not good at that. I don't think you're that great at that either. But that doesn't mean we don't win as much as the Prez does. So I'll let Prez do all the bragging for the entire site. But I'm 12-7 in the NBA playoffs. I'm 19-10 in the NHL playoffs, and a couple of those games that I lost were like last 10-second open goals. So I've had a really good eye on the playoffs. It's worked out very well overall. So that gives us 31-17 overall in the playoffs, 14-4 overall around in Major League Baseball. Today's $5 Tuesday. It's Customer Appreciation Day, which is why I'm glad you did this show on today. Study yesterday. That way people could get our plays for today for only $5. And I've got our top play in the NHL for tonight. It is a total in this game tonight. And I got my top play in Major League Baseball, $5 each. Grab them both. Been on a red hot run overall, 15-6 overall. So can't complain about anything. It's going great. If you want to get more baseball information with the hockey season ending here, I'm on the show every day. It's called Total Bases. I'm on there with Tokyo Brandon, who is a character in himself. He's the Japanese version, although he's not from Japan. He's from Arizona, but he lives in Japan now, and he's the Japanese version of Prez. So if you like Prez, you'll like Tokyo Brandon. If you don't like Prez, you got me, and you've got Adam Trigger on the show, and Adam is very smart. I read as much as I can, and I can rarely get something past Adam Trigger. He's very well known as a guy who is very good at what he does. Great information, regardless if you're betting any of our plays. Great information on that baseball show. So go back and watch today's and continue to watch it after the NHL playoffs, because we got a while until some meaningful football games are happening, unless you do play the Canadian Football League. And we all know that Andrew and the gentleman you had on earlier, Buster, are very good in that sport. So, hey, and you got your soccer. You got your soccer going on.
No. It's called football. European football being played in North America. Football.
Oh, they shouldn't be playing in America, by the way, because nobody gives a shit. And we all know about what's going on in America.
All right. It's going to be a good World Cup. Bryan, listen, I appreciate you coming on, spending some time with us because I know you're up early doing a lot of research for your MLB and stuff. Knock it out of the ballpark in baseball tonight and in NHL. Yes. There you go. All right.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, brother.
Guys, before I get into what Andrew and I like in this series, a quick update for you guys. 249,666. That is the number of subscribers to the YouTube channel. Please, while the Prez begs you to buy his packages, I will beg you to subscribe. Get us to 250,000 subscribers. It is going to happen at some point this week. You guys can help be a part of that. If you haven't already done so, please do so and hit that subscribe button. Andrew,
Carm, I have some breaking news too. Zach Werenski has just been named the Norris Trophy winner in the NHL because for some reason they don't do a big announcement show anymore like they used to in Vegas, a big award show. They just tweeted out at 11:40 in the morning, the NHL department of PR, but he has taken that award over Cale Makar and Rasmus Dahlin. So I'm happy to see it because he plays for the Columbus Blue Jackets, not as much of a big market, as you mentioned, very well deserved. So it's a hockey show. I figured I might as well mention that.
Yep. Any word on the Jack Adams and Lindy Ruff? I guess that won't get announced for a while.
Haven't seen that yet.
So hopefully that happens soon. Okay. So Andrew, here's my take on this series. I look at who the teams that they played. And again, you can only put who they put in front of you. I disagree with the Prez with respect to that. You know, he talked about it's not about the teams that they play. It is the style in which those teams play that deserve to be in the playoffs. The Ottawa Senators they got hot at the right time of the season. Unfortunately, they couldn't carry it over into the first round of the playoffs, and they caught a Carolina team that are playing a phenomenal thing. But a physical team. Carolina had to play a physical team right out of the gate, and they beat them in 4. Then they get a Philly team that comes in, less physical, but a little more scoring, but still physical. They just waited a little too long to put that physicality into play. Then they play the Montreal Canadiens, a team that aren't physical, but have a ton of speed, and they had trouble with them. And if you don't think they had trouble with them, forget about the game 1 6-2 loss, 12 days off. But the next 2 games, Carolina played some of their best games of the playoffs, and those games still were decided in overtime, 3-2, both games. So I think that queued them up perfectly for a series like this. The Vegas Golden Knights get Utah. I don't think there's an identity with that Utah team, whether they're a scoring team, a quick team, a physical team, maybe a little bit of each, but not a lot of one. They play Anaheim, a speedy team ahead of the curve, and handled them after they bounced off that upset of the Edmonton Oilers. And then they played Colorado, who were supposed to be the best team in the league, but the Avs clearly were not themselves in that series, didn't look themselves. weren't 100%. The Cale Makar thing ended up being a bigger factor than anything. Vegas just dared him to shoot from the point when he was at in the lineup because he didn't have a shot. He didn't have the speed, and that comes with the shoulder injury. So now these two teams are facing each other, and I think Carolina is the better prepared team. I get it, the Stanley Cups and the experience that Vegas has, but it's like you said, they lost 17 and 18 games, Carolina, in the conference finals, and then lose to the Canadians, and then rattle off 4 straight wins and looked better each and every game. I don't see a long series. I'm going out on a limb here. I am taking Carolina to win this series in 5 games.
Ooh.
I would play the spread line and take the plus money on on Carolina, as well as the 155 that they're favored by. I will take the plus 1.5, the minus 1.5, and take the, plus 125 on 1.5 games. I'm buying into Carolina. They're over the hump. They finally made it over the hump, and they're in the playoffs. This team is built differently than the last 2 or 3 versions of the Carolina Hurricanes. Nicholas Ehlers, obviously Jarvis. This team looks a lot better prepared than those previous teams. I'm taking Carolina in Cinco de Mayo. I might need some Cinco de Mayo tequila, but Buster's already provided us with a bottle of that. So Carolina in 5 for me. What say you?
Look, Carm, a lot of the points you just hit home, I'm in agreement with you on. And I think one of the biggest things that I'm going to talk about that I think that people will not value as a handicap is you have to lose a lot before you can win. And the thing is, this Vegas Golden Knights team, look, hats off to them because they haven't done much losing since they've even existed as a franchise. So I can't really use that against them. But what you said there about that stat, about the trend for Carolina, how poor they did in the conference final for years. Look, they never had an issue with their division. They never had an issue against wildcard teams. It was always getting to that Tampa Bay or Florida matchup or whoever it might have been. You know, yes, they got a Habs team that was overachieving. Yes, they got a Habs team that had played 14 games already. But Carolina is built to go the distance. When I look at this series, there's 3 players that make a difference for me in this one. Nikolai Ehlers, Taylor Hall, and Keandre Miller. Keandre Miller is not being talked about enough. What a fantastic pickup for the Carolina Hurricanes on the blue line, Carm, that's made a huge difference for that team. And when you think about teams that have to get over the hump to get there, you know, it takes, you know, as much as it takes that star player, every team that's ever won has needed some depth. And that's why when you look at the Edmonton Oilers and Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl, let's be completely frank. The last 2 years, how much depth did that team really, really have, you know, against Florida's depth with Verhaeghe, with Reinhart, with Marchand, with Bennett, with Tkachuk, with Barkov? You know, you got to have depth. And I look at this Hurricanes team, and I mean, no disrespect towards what Prez was saying, but it kind of makes my point that Stan Coven and Blake and all these guys are not household names. If you walk around the street and you ask somebody, do you know who Jackson Blake plays for? The hardcore fans are going to know, but maybe the average fans aren't going to know. And obviously Prez knows who they are. But what I'm saying is that they don't have the Mitch Marners. They don't have the Jack Eichels, but they are a team. This isn't basketball where you can score 72 points in a game. You need a team, and that's what they have. Jordan Staal is the third-line centerman on this team. I think that tells you all you have to know. I think the home games, we're going to see a complete shutdown for the Hurricanes. But I do think this one's going to go the distance, and I think a big part of it is, like Prez said, Dave Kogan used to call him Carter Hart with the accent because Carter Hart has been fantastic, and there are some big game players for this team. Dorofeyev has been fantastic. Barbashev stepping up in a big way. So, Carm, when it comes down to it, Canes in 7 for me. I do think it goes the distance. And look at that recap there. Buster with Vegas in 6. BL, Brian Leonard, Carolina in 7. Carmine just mentioned a big pick there. Carolina in 5. I got Carolina in 7. and Vegas going with Vegas. Prez going with Vegas in 6. Great looking graphic there. And those are our selections for the show. Carm, very quickly, any thoughts on game 1? And huge thank you to all of you guys that have stuck with us for this entire show so far. We appreciate all of you guys. And I promise the next remaining shows for this series will not be this long. But on top of your thoughts for the series, Carm, what do you have for us tonight? Anything you want to mention?
Someone asked, do we expect a game similar to the Montreal game 1 against Carolina? I don't think so. Not a one-sided game. We might see some goals in this one. And I'll talk about that quickly in the pod coming up. But this is one of those, this is one of those games where normally you look at it, it's a Stanley Cup Finals. It is the beginning of a series. And we've seen some higher scoring games in the opening game of the series of a lot of the series this year in the playoffs. And I think it's one of those ones where these two will eventually settle into this game and into this series. But it would not surprise me if this is one of those games that finishes 4-3. Wouldn't surprise me if it's a 4-2 type game. Either one of those ones covers this number of over 5.5. And the Canes have not been a team that have been going over the total much in the playoffs. You look at Freddie Anderson, and with the exception of that 6-2 game, again, that was off of a 12-day rest period for the Canes, he's allowed 2 or fewer goals in every other game thus far in the playoffs. So 13 games, 12 of 13 games, he's allowed 2 or fewer. And that's one of the reasons why he's under consideration for the Conn Smythe. I think it's a goaltender type Conn Smythe. If Carolina Hurricanes win, it is going to be Freddie Anderson. I think if the Vegas Golden Knights win, I don't think it's going to be Eichel or Marner. I think they end up splitting the votes and it goes to Carter Hart. So with that said, I'm looking at the over in this one, Andrew. Over 5.5. I can see a 4-2 type game. What are your thoughts?
Well, Carm, Seth in the chat was waiting for a moment where we'd have maybe a little bit of confliction. We could still both win here, but I'm going to take Carter Hart over 28.5 saves minus the 105. I like that it's not too chalky because a lot of the save props have been lately that I've liked. Minus 105 on this one. I think that one thing we're going to see from this Hurricanes team that Vegas has not seen in quite some time is just a ton of shots. We talked about Nathan McKinnon not being as healthy as could be, Cale Makar not being himself, and some of the depth guys like Brock Nelson not showing up for Colorado. I think Carolina's going to pepper Carter Hart with shots. So over 28.5 saves, I believe, for Carter Hart will get there. And they're known for shooting from anywhere. So I do think we'll see shot props. I will have 2 shot props for clients at wagertalk.com. Prop up at WagerTalk for $5 Tuesday. And before I throw it over to you, Carm, I'll just say this, guys. CFL for me starts Thursday. CFL show being recorded this afternoon, posted tonight to the WagerTalk TV channel. Number 1 last year, 2025, at the website with CFL. Made money on 5% plays, made money on 4% plays. The early bird special is up and available. If there's one sport that you want to get an all-access package for, it's CFL, because the lines move like crazy. I can't always keep my packages up for sale. So if you want to get the best numbers, go and sign up at wt.buzz/AM for the CFL summer package.
All right, Andrew, knock it out of the ballpark or kick it through the uprights, man. Your CFL seasons have been money. I'm going to mention the pod, and then I'll talk about $5 Tuesdays over at Wager Talk. But oops, there you go. I'm going to take the first period over. I just think that first period, the adrenaline's going for these two teams. Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Finals. I think they're going to be a little pumped. They're going to get some pucks on the net. I don't think either team gets off to a slow start in this one or a cautious approach to it, Andrew. I think they come out, try and set the tone for this series. I like the over 1.5 in the first period. Very minimal juice, and it's very minimal juice because you have 2 goalies and 2 teams that have played very well defensively in the playoffs, and especially in that last round of the playoffs with Vegas pretty much shutting down the Avalanche while the Canes, after game one, shut down the Montreal Canadiens as well, too. A speedy team with some players who can score. So over 1.5 for me in this one. And I'll close it out with this, guys. $5 Tuesdays, one play up right now, and that is in the NHL tonight. Is a 4% best bet. A winning and profitable NHL playoffs for me. We're going to look to keep that going. And the World Cup right around the corner, guys. It is 10 days until the kickoff of the World Cup. 9 days. I think Mexico goes first with the kickoff, and then Canada plays on Friday. Not this Friday, but the following. I will be at that game, and I'll be recording daily videos and doing some live stuff. So make sure you follow me on Twitter at Carmine Bianco WT, and hit that subscribe button as well too. Andrew, I'm not sure if you mentioned it. You have what do you have up for tonight? And get us out of here.
Yeah, for tonight, prop play in the NHL. We'll see if I get there with a total play. I'm thinking about it, and if I don't put up a series bet, then I will just put a bet up for tonight. But this is a series I'm looking forward to betting. Sometimes Stanley Cup Finals, past few years, you guys have seen it on PuckTime. I've kind of just stayed back because it's such a good series. But I think we'll make some money betting this series with prop sides or totals. But $5 Tuesday, there used to be a time where it was just one play available for $5. Now any play we have available for $5. So don't miss it, guys. CFL play of the week for $5. All kinds of great stuff up and available. We will see you on Thursday, same time, same place. And I promise a shorter show that time. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time right here on PuckTime.